Amelia's parents were very rich, so when they heard that her daughter was marrying someone whose father was a janitor, they were horrified. Their future son-in-law, Brandon, couldn't possibly measure up. They didn't want the man near their family and were worried for their daughter. In fact, they chose every moment they could to laugh at him and bully him so that he might feel inferior. It almost worked because he was worried for his son, but he begged him to attend the wedding. On the day of the event, he showed up and presented the newly married couple with a gift that put everyone else to shame. Brandon's father, Nikolai, was bullied away from going to the wedding. Amelia's parents were quite disappointed that he showed up and ruined their day. However, they were even more outraged when he outshined them with his gift. As the wedding gifts came up, Amelia's family was sure to make Nikolai the last one. They hoped that he might provide an underwhelming gift that they could make fun of. However, this isn't what happened at all. When Amelia's family learned what Nikolai gave the couple, they realized they had been beaten because nothing could compare. It didn't even come close. However, what did this humble janitor give the couple, and how did it nullify everything else those nasty parents did? Brandon and Amelia realized they wanted to be together immediately. In fact, they were dating for 1.5 years before he proposed. It was Amelia's happiest moment, but her family doubted the wedding and her choice of husband. Amelia's family did like Brandon and thought he was well-mannered and hardworking. They even realized that he loved their daughter, but that didn't matter. His background and family situation lacked, and they worried it might cause problems for the wedding. On the other hand, Amelia's family made it big. Her great-great-grandfather built a successful business from scratch. In fact, the company was in business now and family-owned, making them all rich. Everyone knew she came from wealth. Therefore, most of the family sought out other wealthy people to marry. That way, they didn't have freeloaders who only wanted the lavish lifestyle without love. No one blamed the unwritten law, but it was hard for Amelia and Brandon for their wedding. Brandon's family wasn't wealthy. His dad, Nikolai, worked as a janitor, and his mother couldn't work. Amelia's family found it laughable and thought he was unfit to marry their daughter. Though he worked hard, he wasn't up to snuff, and his love wasn't enough. Amelia knew her family and expected such a reaction. In fact, she decided to marry Brandon no matter what, meaning she couldn't listen to the objections and so-called advice they gave. She was deeply in love with the man and wanted to spend her life with him. At first, she wanted to do it alone without her parents' approval. They could be at the wedding but couldn't be involved in other ways. Deep down, she knew her parents couldn't go for that and decided to be honest without letting them influence her intentions. Her parents were afraid that their precious daughter might be involved with an unworthy family. Therefore, they decided to spin the situation and make it to their advantage. This was the only choice they could see so that their daughter wasn't happy with that man. They wanted to bless the marriage and pay for everything, so the couple naturally agreed. However, they had other intentions. They knew they couldn't prevent the wedding and decided to use it to better themselves. Still, they had to keep quiet, or their daughter might find out. Amelia's family decided to make the event an expensive extravaganza. That way, they could show their wealth to Brandon's family. With that, they showed perceived dominance in the relationship to have more control over the kids' lives. As the wedding day approached, Amelia and Brandon decided that their parents should meet for the first time. They didn't want the meeting to take place at the wedding. Overall, Amelia hoped that her parents might settle down when she met Brandon's parents and saw how nice they were. However, the meeting was a new chance for her parents to show off their wealth and status. They insisted on having it at their home and spent a ton of money to welcome the poor family. They had no guilt for that because they only wanted to prove they were richer and better. Amelia's parents dressed in expensive clothing, but Brandon's dad came from work and wore janitor's clothes. He was embarrassed but felt that outward appearances shouldn't matter. However, her parents made fun of him, so Nikolai made excuses to leave. Was trouble on the horizon? At that time, Amelia's parents believed they broke the janitor's spirit and achieved their goal. The wedding was now the highlight. Amelia and Brandon were disappointed, and she felt that her parents should do better. However, Nikolai ended up with the best surprise in the end. Amelia's parents were busy with the wedding, and Brandon's sister and mother asked to help. However, Nikolai stayed away, refusing to talk to the family. They actually wondered if he would even show for the wedding. Overall, he was making secret plans himself. Both families feared that Nikolai might skip out on the wedding. Brandon was upset because he wanted his dad there, and that hurt Amelia's heart. However, Nikolai came to the wedding and looked strapping in a rented pair of shoes and a tuxedo. In fact, he looked like one of Amelia's family members. Her parents tried ruining the day by changing the seating arrangements so that Brandon's parents weren't in front. However, Amelia knew that might happen and spoke to them in private. She said she was done with them being disrespectful and rude. They could leave and miss her special day. After the heated discussions, Amelia's parents promised to stay out of their marriage. However, they had already planned to mess things up for Nikolai and had to continue on. Still, it had to be in secret so that Amelia didn't notice. Sadly, they didn't think about her. After a few more minutes, the guest arrived, and they started the ceremony. Both sets of parents were in the front row and at different sides. During the ceremony, they never glanced at each other, focusing on their egos instead of the happiness of their children. Amelia was nervous during the wedding. Though she knew this was the right choice for her, she worried that someone might object during the ceremony. In fact, she believed that it might be her parents who ruined the entire day. Could the rest of the family be influenced by her parents? Though her family really didn't care for Brandon, they didn't go far enough to ruin the wedding and marriage. Therefore, she tried relaxing and enjoying her special day. Brandon also felt strange but put those feelings aside. Afterward, there were some drinks arranged on tables. Each family chose to stay in their own cliques, so no one mingled or conversed with others. It was quite disappointing and awkward, but the newlyweds tried to ignore it and have fun. Brandon and Amelia already accepted that their families didn't like each other and weren't likely to be friendly. However, they were more relaxed and happy because they felt they weren't working against each other. However, Amelia's parents had other ideas. Her parents pushed for the couple to start opening gifts. They had huge plans now and couldn't wait. In fact, they had an innocent-looking plan so that they could prove their wealth and made Brandon's family feel bad because they weren't rich. Amelia's parents determined that all parents would present gifts last, but they wanted to be before Brandon's parents. It didn't seem suspicious, and they spared no expense. The goal was to offer their presents first, so that Brandon's parents' gifts might seem underwhelming. The plan was another way to embarrass Nikolai and Brandon's family by showing off the other family's wealth. However, they didn't realize what Nikolai had planned, presenting a special gift to the couple. In fact, it made everything else seem meaningless. Most of the presents Brandon and Amelia got were normal. However, Amelia's family purchased the most expensive gifts of all. Still, they didn't get anything too extravagant and focused on everyone's love and caring thoughts. Therefore, Brandon's parents' gift was the most surprising. Thankfully, people seemed to start conversations around the gifts between the families. Most of Brandon's family began with clever and funny things, and Amelia's family appreciated the jokes. However, it was soon for her parents, and she wondered what it might be. Her parents showered the newlyweds with gifts, such as a 2-week holiday in the Maldives. Many of the gifts were focused on Brandon, such as a new motorcycle. In fact, they were hoping to win him over with things so he might ignore his parents. After Amelia's family was finished, everyone turned to Brandon's. His mother gave them some nice tea sets that were heirlooms from her own wedding day. They rarely drank tea, but the gift was appreciated. Now, it was Nikolai's turn to present something. Everyone was still shocked about the many presents Amelia's parents have given, but Nikolai only had a small present. Though it wasn't very large on the outside, everyone soon learned that it was better than what her parents provided. The two newlyweds ripped away the wrapping paper and opened the box to see what was inside. Amelia pulled out a plate with writing on it, bursting into tears because of the meaning. Everyone wondered what she saw, especially her annoying parents. Amelia's parents went close to see what had happened. They saw the present and knew it was over. Nikolai won and didn't even know there was a contest. This present was a sign to put by the front door that had their married names on it. Though it wasn't fancy, it was created with love. Amelia's parents knew that they couldn't exclude Nikolai from the family because their daughter was related to him through marriage. It happened because Amelia now had Nikolai's and Brandon's last name. Her parents hadn't actually thought about it, but Amelia no longer had their name. No matter what, that didn't change. Overall, the gift was symbolic and showed them they were defeated. They could make peace with it or lose their daughter forever. Amelia's father went to Nikolai, shaking his hand and burying the hatchet. He'd accepted defeat and felt sorry about how they had treated Brandon's family. Nicolay was the better man, waving it all away and starting fresh after the apology. After that, both families acted normally toward each other. They tried to get her a job. Everyone learned a lesson.